Good afternoon, Adair County politics. My name is Danielle Lanier, and I am running for Oklahoma's Congressional District 2 seat against Mark Wayne Mullen. It was my intention to be able to get around to all of the counties, all 26 of them, but COVID 19 had other plans. I'm sure everything that has taken place in 2020 was not on any of our bingo cards for this year. But nonetheless, thank you for reaching out to me. Thank you for letting me join the group. I have a list of questions that were given to me, and I'm going to go through each one of them. I just want to start with really just introducing myself to you since I did not get a chance to actually do that in person. I am not a politician. I am a Navy veteran. I am a Cherokee citizen by birth. I was born right there at W.W. Hastings Hospital in Tahlequah. I was adopted as a baby and I was actually raised in Hugo. So, I'm a mother. I have two fantastic kids, a 21-year-old and a 10-year-old. So you can imagine that my life is full. I am happily married. My husband, it works for the post office and has for the last 16 years. So I am in total support of our post office or our USPS. And I just want to tell you a little bit about why I'm running. I'm running because I want to be a voice for all Oklahomans. Many people have reached out to me and they're like, okay, well, what prompted you to run? So I'll tell you what put my horse in the race, if you will. My mother got sick last year. She had back-to-back strokes, and I had to move in with her to take care of her. And I was able to see firsthand how the rural healthcare system, how overburdened it is, and just the issues from wait times, doctors with too many patients, just limited spacing, just able to see firsthand what a lot of Oklahomans, especially in the rural areas, are dealing with. And it was an eye opener for me. What actually put my horse in the race, and some of you have heard me tell this story before, was I was on a Walmart run, a pharmacy run to go get my mom's medications. And the lady in front of me put her groceries back to pay for her prescriptions. That was a defining moment for me because here I am watching someone's mom, grandma, aunt, church member having to make life decisions at the register. So I offered to pay for it. You know, us Oklahoma women, us Okies, we got our pride. She declined. But I was like, we're the wealthiest country in the world. Why are we doing that? So I said, I'm going to step into this race to see what happens because it's time for a change. I don't have any other motives outside of, again, I want to represent all Oklahomans. I want everybody to feel like they have a voice, not just big donors, not just the wealthy, everyone. All right, questions. So I'm going to kind of start off with those. The first question that was given to me was really in regards to gun rights. So I want to kind of start off with that, and I just want to kind of let you know that I'm going to break these answers down in between what's in my wheelhouse as far as the congressional seat is concerned and what actually is going to fall under states' rights. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. For me as a veteran, there's no expiration date on me supporting, defending, and upholding the Constitution. So I want to make sure that we start there with that and that we're clear is that I support the Constitution and all its amendments. States' rights. I support the individual states' rights because they provide the individual liberty, and they also help safeguard against a centralized power or the federal government becoming too big. I'm sure a lot of you already have that understanding. So I just want that to be clear as I'm going through answering a lot of these questions, is that I do understand the difference between what's in the federal wheelhouse and what's in the state's wheelhouse. So some of the questions that I got, I always start with abortion. I get that all the time. And again, let me say, I uphold the Constitution whether I agree with it or not. I don't cherry pick at it. I support quality health care, and I feel the government doesn't have any place making medical decisions for women. So you can kind of take that how you will. I'm also going to give you some facts that a lot of candidates and a lot of incumbents are not telling you. So let me tell you really what's going on with abortion. Abortion at the federal level has constitutional protection upheld by a Supreme Court decision. When candidates tell you that they're fighting for the unborn, I want you to take that with a grain of salt, and I'm going to tell you why. There are 9 Supreme Court justices. There is a conservative majority of 5 of them. If they were going to abolish abortion at the federal level, don't you think they would have done that already? So I want you to kind of think about that when people are telling you that this is what they're running to do. Think about what's already in place at the federal level and why it hasn't happened yet when the Supreme Court is stacked with 5 pro-life justices that are there for life. And they've been there for some years now. So I want you to think about that. So let's get into the states' rights when it comes to abortions. States, again, they have their own individual rights. They can put restrictions in place where they can basically say, who can cover it. They can have a say on how many weeks or put a limitation on how many weeks you can be before you can have one. They can mandate, giving a survey. They can mandate saying what health plans, are okay to cover that, like I said. But abortion is legal in all 50 states. It's going to stay legal in all 50 states unless the Supreme Court overturns their decision. So I want to make sure that we all have that fundamental understanding of that. The next question I got was about tax cuts. I'm for tax cuts when it benefits our constituents that are paying our congressional salaries, which is you, the taxpayers. I support our everyday hardworking Americans. The last tax cut that we had was in 2017. It was called the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, where our tax codes were readjusted. And what we saw from that, the majority of that, was the wealthy got wealthier, especially for if they had financial holdings in corporations. So I'll kind of leave you with this when you're thinking about who you're going to vote for when it comes to tax cuts for this 2020 cycle. Do you live on Wall Street or do you live on Main Street? Is it the roaring 20s where you live, or is it the Great Depression? So just something for you to think about with that. Next question I got was gun rights. That's also a understandably an important question that I have gotten across the board. I support the Constitution and I support the Second Amendment. I am a licensed gun owner, and I support responsible gun ownership. The Supreme Court ruled that this is a fundamental individual right, which can only be impeded upon with good rational reasoning. So let's talk about what is rational reasoning. Rational reasoning would be your background checks, it would be your permits, it would be items put in place before you purchase a weapon. That can also vary by state. As you know, here in Oklahoma, we have constitutional carry. Gun laws are determined by the state. So when you are concerned about any gun legislation, any gun laws in particular, that's where I would want you to really reach out to your House district or your HD representatives and your state Senate representatives. They have more of a say over your state gun rights and gun laws than the federal government has. The Constitution has already put in place you can own a gun. All right. Next question I got. Gay rights. LGBTQ are human rights, which is why we have a bill like the Equality Act that was passed in May of 2019. This bill prohibited discrimination based on sex or sexual orientation, gender identity, and a wide variety of areas, including public accommodations, education, federal funding, employment, housing, and the jury system. Even though that passed in Congress, it's still waiting at the desk of the Senate. So those are the type of laws that I would be interacting with in that congressional seat. Next question that I got was parental choice of schools. I'm a parent. Like I told you, I have a 10-year-old. So for me, I absolutely support a parent's right to choose their learning environment for their kids, whether that's going to be public school, whether that is private school, whether that's simply homeschooling. I support a parent's right to make the best choice for their kids. I am a supporter of public schools, and a part of that is because it is written into Oklahoma law that they have to fund public schools. So that's something I want you guys to kind of think about with that. When it comes to the funding of those public schools, there is a state formula. Each state, district, they have a certain formula by how much funding it is that they receive. When that money is distributed, they take that money and they appropriate it to the different school districts. If you want to know how that funding is distributed, I recommend that you reach out to your local school districts, you reach out to your city councils. They have more of a say as it comes to the funding, the actual funding of the school districts, than we do in Congress. We can appropriate the funds based on what that state tells us it is that they need. But where that money actually goes has more to do with the state. But it's a fantastic question, and I appreciate it. The last question that I got was about vaccines. Public health also is traditionally left to the state. State laws, they are the ones that establish vaccination requirements for schools, whether they are public or private. And we do know that there are exemptions to vaccinations. For me, should the current administration, or if we change administrations and there is a bill that's introduced that would mandate a federal requirement for vaccinations, I would read through that bill. I would come back home to Oklahoma, host town halls, and I would talk to you guys about that as to how you would want me to vote on something like that. I know that varies. I know for a lot of people, vaccinations, because there is an informed consent, it's a concern. Some people just don't like the idea of it, and I respect that too. So if for some reason there's some type of federal mandate that would come from the White House where we would have to vote on that, I would come home and I would talk to y'all about that. So far, those are the questions that I received. I hope that kind of gives you a little bit more insight into where I stand. Again, I'm running to represent all Oklahomans, not just wealthy donors, not just corporations. I support small businesses. I support a happy, healthy way of life. I do. The last thing I'd like to add with you is if you have additional questions, you can also reach out to me at my website, Danyelle, and my name is spelled in a non-traditional way. It's Danyell, Danyelle for Congress.com. You can also reach me by the same name, Danielle for Congress, Gmail, and Danielle for Congress on all social media platforms. You can also ask me questions back here on Adair County Politics. I know this is a lengthy video, but being that we don't have a town hall, or I haven't been haven't set one up for Adair County, I thought this would be a great way to reach you guys. So any other questions, please let me know. Thank you for taking the time out to watch this video. And if you need me, that I'm here. I'm Danielle Lanier. I'm running for Oklahoma's Congressional District 2, and I'd appreciate your support. Have a great day.